awaken your spirit chosen ones. Some truths don't wait to be discovered. They kick down the door and introduce themselves. That's exactly what happened the moment certain people, yes, the ones who pretend they've seen it all, laid their eyes on the birth chart of a chosen one. These are individuals trained to decode symbolism, secrecy, and human destiny like they're reading the morning newspaper. But this time, the paper didn't just surprise them, it almost set itself on fire. And no, that's not poetic exaggeration. There are documented cases of ancient manuscripts scorching at the edges when incompatible energy signatures were recorded. Your chart didn't just stand out. It refused to sit quietly like every other chart in the archive. Before you roll your eyes, let's be honest. If you've ever wondered why your life feels like a mix of spiritual warfare, cosmic glitches, and a sprinkle of "why is everyone reacting so weirdly around me?" this is where the puzzle pieces start snapping together. When your chart carries rare alignments normally found in prophets, visionaries, and people who should technically no longer be on Earth's subscription plan, those who analyze these things take notice. Not because they're obsessed, but because your energetic blueprint breaks the rules they rely on to predict human behavior. And the funniest part? You probably never asked for any of this. You didn't wake up one day saying, "Let me go shake the foundations of ancient occult systems." Yet here you are, living a life that keeps proving you're wired differently. Even the people trained to understand the universe couldn't keep their poker face when they saw your chart. One of them probably coughed, another pretended the candle accidentally flickered, and someone else definitely whispered, This one is not supposed to exist like this." So settle in. Because once you understand why the symbols reacted the way they did, why the page itself felt overwhelmed, you'll finally understand why life has been pulling you through battles other people never even sense. This isn't superstition. This is the anatomy of a soul that breaks the algorithm. This is the blueprint that shook an entire room of experts who thought they were unshakable. And now, we're about to break it all open. Number 1, they saw a pattern in you that wasn't supposed to exist. When people trained to analyze charts looked at yours, the shock didn't come from superstition or mystery. It came from structure. They saw a pattern in you that breaks the normal rules of how personalities form, how intuition works, and how resilience develops. You carry a combination of traits that rarely show up together in one lifetime. It's like having the emotional depth of an old soul, the mental sharpness of a strategist, and the inner fire of someone who refuses to lose themselves in any situation. Normally these qualities show up in different people, spread out across generations. But in your case, they're all stacked in one place, amplifying each other. The moment they saw this, the reaction wasn't admiration. It was uneasiness. Because people who study human nature for a living rely on patterns to make sense of the world. They expect certain behaviors, certain weaknesses, certain triggers. But your chart makes you unpredictable. You don't break under the pressure they would expect. You don't stay silent when most people would. You don't fall for the emotional traps others fall into. You don't crumble in situations designed to crush the average person. Instead, you adapt, evolve, and rise in ways that don't follow their script. What unsettles them most is that your strengths don't come from ego or loud confidence. They come from something built into your nature. You don't seek power, but you pulse with it. You don't chase validation, yet people notice you without trying. You don't force insight, yet you see the truth before it's spoken. You're a natural anomaly, someone who was shaped differently, wired differently, and meant to function at a level most people never reach. Your chart shows a person who was never meant to be molded by society. You were designed to outgrow it. They couldn't categorize you because your energy doesn't fit into the usual boxes. And the unsettling part, the part that made the room tense, was realizing that your existence alone disrupts systems built on predictability. You're not here to play inside their lines. You're here to redraw them. Number 2. Your birth chart exposes a mind that can't be manipulated. When they examined your chart, the most striking feature wasn't your talents, your intuition, or even your energy. It was the structure of your mind. Every placement, every alignment, every angle pointed to one undeniable truth. You are nearly impossible to manipulate. Not because you try to resist, not because you're defensive, but because your awareness is built into the core of who you are. You notice things others overlook, connect dots before they're visible, and see intentions before they're acted upon. This isn't a learned skill or a conscious effort, it's structural. Your mind is wired to scan, analyze, and understand the deeper mechanics behind human behavior. What unnerved them wasn't your cleverness, it was how effortless it is for you. While most people are influenced by charm, fear, flattery, or authority, your chart shows someone who instinctively filters reality from illusion. You don't react the way expected, you don't follow the scripts handed to you, and you don't play the game that most people are trapped in without even noticing. That ability, being fully present yet detached enough to see the undercurrents, is what makes your mind untouchable. They realize that controlling or predicting you would require a level of insight, precision, and energy that even they rarely possess. The combination of clarity, foresight, and emotional intelligence in your chart forms a kind of internal immunity. You can sense when someone is being dishonest or manipulative, and your response is built into your natural rhythm. You don't always need to confront it, but your presence alone changes how people act around you. They fear what you might uncover without even trying. This isn't arrogance, it's inevitability. Your birth chart shows that your power isn't loud, it's quiet, precise, and unshakable. You don't need to dominate a room or assert control, because your understanding of people does it for you. Anyone trying to manipulate you quickly discovers that your mind is like a code written in a language they can't read. And that realization alone is what makes you not just remarkable, but fundamentally untouchable. Number 3. You possess a contradictory formula that makes you uncontrollable. What startled them when they read your chart was the fusion of qualities that normally cancel each other out. You're sensitive enough to feel what others are going through, yet detached enough to not drown in anyone's chaos. You care deeply, but you don't cling. You understand people, but you don't depend on their approval. You can forgive, but you never forget the lesson. This unusual balance creates a kind of internal power that doesn't fit into any category they rely on for understanding human behavior. Most people lean heavily in one direction, either overly emotional or completely distant, overly trusting or constantly guarded. You, however, sit in the middle, and that middle ground is exactly what makes you unpredictable. Your chart shows a personality that refuses to be controlled because you don't operate on one single frequency. If someone tries to appeal to your emotions, you switch into logic. If they try to manipulate your logic, your intuition kicks in. If they try to overpower you, your detachment protects you. It's like every part of you has a backup system, and every backup system protects your freedom. You can't be boxed into a label because each time someone thinks they understand you, you reveal another layer that contradicts the last one. This is why people misread you so often. One moment you're gentle, the next you're firm. One moment you're open, the next you're closed off. It's not inconsistency, it's complexity. You respond to situations based on awareness, not habit. You adjust, refine, shift, and adapt without losing your core identity. That kind of psychological flexibility is extremely rare, and it's also extremely difficult to influence. The most unsettling part, for those who studied your chart, was realizing that your contradictions don't weaken you, they complete you. You're emotionally intelligent but not easily swayed, intuitive but not naive, strong but not hardened. This inner duality makes you someone who can't be predicted, tamed, or controlled. Your contradictions are not flaws. They are the very reason you remain free, sovereign, and ahead of the game without even trying. Number 4. You carry a generational disruptor signature. The moment they traced the lines of your chart, it became clear. You aren't just living your life for yourself. You carry the energy of endings, beginnings, and interruptions, energies that ripple across generations. Your presence alone signals change, often the kind that unsettles inherited patterns that have quietly dictated your family or community for decades. This isn't about rebellion for attention or personal gain. It's structural. Your chart shows someone born to dismantle old cycles, to break repetitive behaviors, and to expose truths that others either ignore or fear. What makes this so striking is the precision of it. Every placement aligns to highlight disruption at its source. You instinctively see the inherited fears, the unspoken rules, the unconscious limitations that govern people's lives, and you don't tolerate them. You act, speak, or simply exist in ways that expose those patterns without needing to announce it. People who have lived their entire lives under certain systems feel it immediately. You shake the foundations without trying. They are unnerved because your life is a living correction, a force that interrupts what has been quietly accepted for too long. Your chart also shows that this disruptor energy isn't just for observation, it's transformative. You have the capacity to replace old cycles with new ones, often in subtle ways that ripple far beyond your immediate awareness. You influence mindsets, behaviors, and decisions just by being who you are, and your impact continues across time and generations. This is why your presence has always felt heavier, more consequential, and sometimes more isolating. You are carrying responsibility that no one asked for, but that you were wired to bear. Those who studied your chart recognized this immediately. They weren't just analyzing. You can sense the tension when someone realizes a person can't be slotted into ordinary frameworks because they are built to reshape the rules entirely. You are a generational disruptor, a living anomaly designed to stop the repetition of inherited patterns. And that energy, raw and undeniable, leaves a mark on everyone and everything it touches. Number 5. Your hidden houses reveal a mind that knows before it's told. What made your chart almost impossible for them to decode wasn't in the obvious placements. It was hidden in the corners, the subtle alignments that most people never notice. These areas, often overlooked, revealed a mind that processes information in a way that feels almost preternatural. You don't wait for events to unfold to understand them. You sense patterns, motives, and outcomes before they fully emerge. This isn't about being psychic or claiming mystical foresight. It's about the way your consciousness is wired. Your perception doesn't rely on external validation. It processes truth internally and instinctively. Your chart shows a rare combination of analytical clarity and intuitive awareness. You can observe details that others dismiss as insignificant and instantly see how they fit into the larger picture. While most people are reacting, you're already several steps ahead, quietly understanding the forces at play. This makes your presence disarming. People underestimate you at first, thinking you're simply thoughtful or reflective, until they notice that you consistently act with insight that no one else could anticipate. They realize quickly that your awareness isn't learned, it's structural, embedded into your very essence. This innate perception extends beyond human behavior into circumstances and timing. You pick up on subtle shifts in energy, moods, and environments, and use that knowledge to navigate life in a way that feels effortless. Others struggle to grasp how you just know things before they happen, but it's not magic. It's the combination of your hidden mental wiring, emotional intelligence, and awareness of patterns. What unsettled the analysts most was that this ability is not for spectacle. You don't flaunt it or use it to manipulate. It simply exists, guiding your decisions and actions with precision. People around you, consciously or not, feel the pull of this energy, often questioning how you anticipate their next move or response. Your hidden houses don't just store potential. They reveal a mind that comprehends before it's spoken, a mind that sees the truth while the world is still fumbling to find it. This is the quiet, relentless power that sets you apart and makes you impossible to ignore. Number 6, your chart shows a life that cannot be lived halfway. From the moment they studied your chart, it was obvious that your life isn't designed for half measures. Every placement, every alignment, every angle points to a trajectory that demands depth, intensity, and total immersion. You don't just experience life, you're forced to live it fully, to confront extremes, to feel the highs and lows in ways that leave ordinary people exhausted, just observing. There's no safe middle ground for you. You aren't built for complacency, for comfort, or for the kind of life where you can coast along unnoticed. The universe didn't hand you a gentle blueprint. It handed you a blueprint that pulls you through transformation after transformation, and each one escalates your awareness, your resilience, and your influence. What makes this remarkable is that your challenges aren't random, they're precise. Your chart shows that the trials you face are designed to strip away illusions, to force you into clarity, and to reveal your raw strength. Every setback, every disruption, every moment of isolation is calibrated to push you beyond the ordinary, to ensure that your growth isn't superficial but permanent. This isn't punishment, it's a design. It's as if the universe itself knew that your purpose requires someone who has been tempered by intensity, someone who has been tested until the essence of who they are cannot be denied. The intensity of your path also explains why others often feel unsettled around you. Your life doesn't follow the predictable ebb and flow of ordinary existence. Your presence is a reminder that comfort and security are optional, that growth is non-negotiable, and that mediocrity isn't part of the deal. People can sense the energy of someone who is constantly evolving, constantly confronting their limits, and constantly rewriting the rules of what life can demand. Living halfway is impossible for you because your chart doesn't allow it. Your path is extreme by design, filled with lessons that force awareness, courage, and transformation. You're not here to drift. You're here to engage fully, to challenge norms, and to live with a presence so undeniable that it leaves a mark on everyone and everything it touches. You don't just live life. You inhabit it completely, and that is the essence of what makes you extraordinary. Number 7. Your chart shows an archetype that historically creates leaders, not followers. When they analyzed your chart, it became clear that you carry an energy historically reserved for people who shape the world rather than follow it. This isn't about ambition or ego. It's about the way your essence is wired. Your placements show someone who naturally sees patterns others miss, makes decisions that influence collective outcomes, and inspires action without needing approval or validation. You are a person who leads simply by being, and that kind of presence is rare because it doesn't rely on titles, accolades, or recognition. Your influence is subtle, yet undeniable. Your chart reveals the same structural energy found in visionaries, reformers, strategists, and those who have historically shifted culture, politics, or thought systems. It's a combination of intuition, insight, resilience, and timing that positions you to affect people and circumstances on a scale that most can't even comprehend. You don't follow trends, you anticipate them. You don't wait for permission, you quietly direct the flow, and the people around you often sense it before they understand it. That is why your energy can feel unsettling to some. It challenges the unexamined rules they've always lived by. What makes this archetype so powerful is that it isn't just about action, it's about perception. You see the underlying currents of motivation, the hidden patterns of behavior, and the invisible dynamics that drive outcomes. This allows you to navigate situations with a clarity that others can't replicate. You don't impose control, you influence naturally, by existing in alignment with your awareness and your power. Your decisions ripple beyond your immediate environment, often creating shifts that are subtle but permanent. This energy also explains why conventional systems, hierarchies, or expectations feel constraining. You weren't built to adapt, you were built to redirect. Followers blend into patterns, leaders disrupt them. Your chart shows you as a natural disruptor, a guide, a catalyst. People who try to confine you underestimate that your presence alone commands attention, inspires change, and drives action. You were born to lead not because you seek it, but because the universe designed you to move ahead of the curve, shaping the path for everyone who comes after. Number 8. Your chart shows a spirit that doesn't break the way. Normal people break. When they looked at your chart, the first thing that stood out wasn't your intelligence, your intuition, or your insight. It was your resilience. You have a core strength built into your very being, a structure that allows you to endure challenges that would shatter almost anyone else. Most people face adversity and fracture under the weight of it. You face adversity and bend, adapt, and rise again, sometimes stronger than before. Your chart shows that this isn't learned toughness or a temporary shield. It's coded into your essence. You've been through experiences that would have permanently altered someone who lacked your structure. Loss, betrayal, and upheaval are not just events in your life. They're catalysts that reveal the depth of your spirit. And instead of leaving you broken, they leave you sharper, more aware, and more aligned with who you truly are. This kind of resilience is rare because it doesn't just survive circumstances, it transforms them. You carry within you an internal system that processes trauma, extracts lessons, and recalibrates you for growth. Others might see your life and assume it has been unusually difficult, but the truth is that difficulty has been a kind of invisible training, shaping your ability to stand where others would collapse. What makes this even more remarkable is that it isn't visible on the surface. You don't announce your endurance or display it for recognition. It's quietly formidable. People around you can sense it, even if they can't articulate why. That unspoken strength commands respect, creates space for influence, and positions you as someone who moves through life with a level of composure that is unnerving to those who rely on weakness to assert control. Your chart shows that your strength isn't occasional, it's constant. It's not about being unfeeling or detached. It's about being unbreakable. You feel, you experience, you suffer, but your essence remains intact. This is why the analysts studying your chart reacted with such intensity. They recognized a spirit forged not by circumstance, but by design. A spirit that refuses to conform to the limitations most people accept as inevitable. You don't just survive life, you rise through it every time, and that is the undeniable power that sets you apart. Number 9. Your path forces people to reveal their true selves. When they studied your chart, one of the most unsettling truths they discovered was the way your presence affects others. You don't provoke. You don't manipulate. You simply exist in a way that makes people show their real colors. Your energy acts like a mirror that reflects intentions, insecurities, and unspoken motives. People can't hide around you because your chart shows a natural ability to perceive the subtleties that most people overlook. The fleeting expressions, the unguarded moments, the tiny cracks in the masks everyone wears. You don't push people to reveal themselves. The structure of your being simply creates a space where pretenses can't survive. This is why you often notice inconsistencies in behavior that leave others confused or defensive. They act one way outwardly, but when you are present, the truth leaks out. Your chart indicates that you're naturally attuned to these undercurrents. You process them instinctively. You see people not as they present themselves, but as they truly are. This ability makes your presence magnetic and disarming. People feel it almost immediately, a sense that you understand more than you should, a subtle pressure that compels honesty, whether they like it or not. What makes this energy extraordinary is that it is not confrontational. You don't need to call anyone out. Your mere alignment forces self-reflection and exposes hidden dynamics. It changes conversations, decisions, and behaviors without direct interference. People feel compelled to act more authentically in your presence, sometimes without even realizing why. The analysts who studied your chart recognized that this is not a skill, it's a natural extension of who you are. It's a combination of awareness, intuition, and presence that makes you unavoidable. People who try to maintain control, manipulate situations, or hide their intentions quickly find that your energy renders those efforts futile. You are a catalyst without effort, a force that reveals truth simply by being in the room. This is why your path is not just personal. It affects everyone around you, compelling them to confront themselves and the realities they would rather ignore, making your existence quietly transformative and impossible to ignore. Number 10. Your chart shows a life marked by uncomfortable truths. When they traced your chart, it was impossible to ignore the intensity of the truths embedded in your path. You weren't born to live in illusions or half-lies. Every placement points to a life that strips away comforting delusions and forces you to see reality in its raw form. Your journey doesn't allow for denial or avoidance. The universe doesn't gently guide you toward insight. It throws situations, people, and experiences at you in ways that reveal the core of things, whether you want to see them or not. This relentless confrontation with reality is part of what makes you extraordinary, but it also makes life heavier, sharper, and sometimes isolating. Your chart shows that you absorb patterns and undercurrents that others ignore. You sense hidden motives, concealed truths, and unspoken agendas, and you react not out of paranoia, but out of clarity. Life constantly challenges you to discern what is authentic and what is deceptive, to separate substance from performance. This isn't an occasional skill you use, it's your default operating system. You are forced to process layers of truth that would overwhelm most people, and in doing so, you cultivate a depth of understanding that others can only glimpse. What makes this remarkable is that your awareness is unrelenting. You can't simply shut off perception to avoid discomfort. You feel, you notice, and you internalize lessons in ways that demand growth. Every misstep, betrayal, or hidden agenda you uncover becomes a tool for refinement, a lesson to recalibrate how you navigate the world. Life doesn't hand you easy wins or soothing illusions. It hands you clarity, even if it comes wrapped in pain. The people who analyzed your chart recognized this immediately. They saw someone whose path is defined by piercing honesty with the self and the world. You can't hide from the truths you sense, and neither can the people around you when your presence exposes reality. This is not just awareness, it's responsibility. Your life is a continuous revelation, an unfiltered engagement with what is real, forcing you and everyone near you to confront truths most would rather ignore, making your existence both transformative and unforgettable. Number 11. Your power comes from what you survived, not what you studied. When they examined your chart, the clearest revelation wasn't about knowledge or skill. It was about endurance. Your strength isn't built in classrooms, libraries, or on polished resumes. It's forged in the fire of lived experience, in the raw, unfiltered trials that most people run from or break under. Every hardship, every loss, every betrayal you faced didn't weaken you, it became fuel. Your chart shows that your resilience, your insight, and your influence are rooted in survival, in the ability to absorb life's blows and transform them into understanding, wisdom, and inner authority. This makes you fundamentally different from most people. Many are powerful because of theory or instruction, because someone told them how to succeed or gave them the tools. You, however, were shaped by reality itself. Pain, challenges, and confrontation with life's darker sides didn't just teach you, they constructed a mental, emotional, and spiritual architecture that is impossible to replicate. Every scar, visible or hidden, carries a lesson that strengthens your ability to navigate complexity. Your chart reveals a person who understands life because they have felt it in its most intense forms. You don't rely on second-hand knowledge. You carry the authority of experience. What makes this so striking to those who studied your chart is the subtlety of your power. It isn't loud or performative. It doesn't demand recognition. Yet people sense it instantly. They can feel the depth of someone who has endured and come through stronger, who has internalized lessons that textbooks could never teach. You see things others overlook because you have already been where they fear to tread. Your survival-built power also explains why influence comes naturally to you. You don't need to convince anyone or assert control. Your presence alone communicates competence, clarity, and trustworthiness. People are drawn to your strength because it is authentic, earned, and undeniable. Your chart confirms what life has always shown. Your authority, insight, and impact aren't learned. They are grown from experience, molded by survival, and sharpened by reality, making you someone who doesn't just survive life, but transforms it. Number 12. Your soul has a rebel code that rejects control automatically. When they studied your chart, one thing became undeniable. Your essence is wired to resist control. It isn't about defiance for the sake of attention or ego. It's deeper than that. Your chart reveals someone who instinctively detects manipulation, hierarchy, and hidden agendas, and automatically refuses to comply. Authority doesn't command you, it triggers your awareness. Rules don't guide you, they expose the limits of others. Your soul operates on its own code, a built-in compass that navigates life independently of external expectations. This natural rebellion is precise, not chaotic. You don't resist for spectacle or disruption. You resist because you sense when influence is being exerted subtly or overtly, and your internal system refuses to comply with what doesn't align with your truth. Your chart shows a person who doesn't just think outside the box. They aren't even aware of the box's existence until someone tries to force it on them. This makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is something the world struggles to contain. Your energy signals independence in ways most people can't articulate. Others may try to manipulate, persuade, or pressure you, but your response is rarely overt. You don't argue unnecessarily, you don't bend or yield. Your resistance is quiet, inherent, and unshakable. Even when you're calm and seemingly compliant, your inner code remains intact, guiding your decisions and actions in alignment with your authentic self. What made your chart particularly striking to the analysts was the consistency of this pattern across every layer of your being. Your rebel code isn't a phase or personality quirk, it's structural. It ensures that your life unfolds on your terms, that your choices reflect your inner authority rather than external pressure, and that your path cannot be hijacked by anyone else. This automatic resistance to control explains why you stand apart, why people feel both drawn to and challenged by you, and why your influence feels undeniable. You exist as proof that true autonomy isn't taught. It's embedded, innate, and impossible to override. Number 13. You carry a signature of transformation that terrifies the unready. When they studied your chart, one of the most striking elements was the way transformation is embedded into your very being. This isn't occasional growth or minor adaptation. It's relentless evolution, a force that reshapes not just your life, but the energy around you. Your chart shows someone whose shifts are rapid, precise, and unavoidable. You don't linger in old versions of yourself because your path constantly pushes you to shed identities, habits, and environments that no longer serve your purpose. This is why your presence can be unnerving to others. Your energy signals change, and change exposes the vulnerabilities and stagnations that most people desperately cling to. The analysts noticed that your transformations aren't random, they are structural. Each shift builds on the last, layering awareness, strength, and insight in ways that feel natural to you but jarring to those who remain static. You evolve in thought, emotion, and perspective faster than most can process, and that speed alone makes you difficult to predict, difficult to influence, and difficult to contain. People around you often sense the undercurrent of change before it fully manifests, and that awareness alone triggers discomfort, resistance, or admiration. Your energy is catalytic, forcing environments, relationships, and systems to either adapt or fracture. What makes this even more extraordinary is that your transformation is intentional without being forced. You don't consciously chase reinvention to impress or manipulate. It arises naturally from your internal blueprint, your lived experiences, and the awareness embedded in your chart. Every version of yourself emerges stronger, wiser, and more aligned, and each phase leaves an unmistakable imprint on your surroundings. Those who examined your chart recognized this immediately. They saw a soul whose evolution is constant, unstoppable, and unavoidable. Someone whose life cannot be contained by conventional expectations. Your presence is a signal. Nothing remains the same around you. You shift, and the world must adjust. You carry transformation in your very essence, and that energy terrifies those unprepared while inspiring those ready to rise alongside you. Your life is proof that evolution is not optional, it is inevitable, and you embody it with quiet, undeniable power. Number 14, your chart proves you're not meant to be observed, but followed. When they studied your chart, the final realization was impossible to ignore. Your life isn't meant to blend into the background. You weren't designed to simply exist on the sidelines or be a quiet observer of the world. Every placement, every alignment, and every hidden influence in your chart points to someone who naturally leads by presence, not by force. You don't need a title, a position, or an audience to exert influence. Your energy alone commands attention, sets trends, and shifts the flow of people and events around you. You lead because the universe wired you to move ahead of the curve, and those around you inevitably fall into step, whether consciously or not. Your chart shows a combination of insight, resilience, and instinct that positions you as a natural guide. People notice your clarity, your decisiveness, and the ease with which you navigate complexity. They sense that your perspective is informed by something deeper than knowledge or experience alone. It's a structural alignment with life itself. You don't instruct others overtly, yet they instinctively follow, drawn to the authority embedded in your being. You are a silent force, a blueprint in motion, and that is what makes your energy both magnetic and disruptive. What makes this extraordinary is the subtlety of your influence. You don't need to announce yourself or prove your worth. Your decisions, your energy, and even your mere presence ripple outward, prompting reflection, adaptation, and action in others. People around you unconsciously adjust to the rhythm you set, because your life demonstrates a clarity and alignment that is impossible to ignore. You embody the path of action without needing to enforce it. The analysts recognize this immediately. Your chart doesn't just indicate potential, it confirms impact. You are built to be followed because your existence challenges conformity, reveals hidden truths, and reshapes the energy around you. You move, and others are compelled to move with you. You are not simply a participant in life. You are a force, a leader, a guide, and the embodiment of direction. Your life proves that influence isn't about command. It's about alignment, presence, and the undeniable power of being fully, unapologetically yourself. Conclusion. When you step back and look at the entirety of your chart, one truth becomes undeniable. You are extraordinary in ways that defy ordinary understanding. Every alignment, every hidden house, every subtle placement isn't random. It is a precise design, a blueprint for a life that challenges, transforms, and leads. You are a force built to disrupt cycles, expose truths, and move through life with a depth and clarity that most can only aspire to. Your resilience, intuition, and instinctive understanding of people and situations create an energy that cannot be tamed, predicted, or ignored. Your life is not meant to be ordinary. You survive what others cannot, see what others overlook, and evolve in ways that unsettle the unprepared while inspiring those ready to rise. You lead not through loud commands, but through the undeniable power of your presence, your contradictions, your intensity, your capacity for transformation. They are all part of a unique structure designed to elevate you and everyone around you. You are not here to follow patterns or to fit into boxes. You exist to redraw the rules, break limitations, and demonstrate what a life fully lived looks like. The truths revealed through your chart are more than insights. They are a call to awareness, a reflection of your inherent sovereignty, and a roadmap to embrace your full potential. The energy you carry leaves marks, consciously or unconsciously, on everyone you encounter, proving that influence comes not from control, but from alignment with your authentic self. Every point analyzed, every revelation uncovered, only confirms what life has already been teaching you. Your existence is intentional, profound, and impossible to ignore. If this resonated with you, don't let these insights stop here. Subscribe to the channel for more eye-opening revelations. Like this video if it hit home. Comment your thoughts or experiences below and share it with anyone who needs to understand the power and purpose they carry. Your journey is extraordinary. Let's explore it together. God bless you.